don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Apologies for the strange angle that I'm filming at. I'm actually using my iPad to film for a change rather than my phone, so hence the weird kind of angle and possibly the change in colour. So anyway, the reason I'm sat here today is I've just got back from visiting mum and dad after dad's had a recent stroke. So I went over today with Ian and Mr. Bentley just for a quick visit, just to see how they were doing, and it was a bit difficult. Mum herself has memory issues, so discussing things, important things like money and bills and that kind of thing, and other domestic chores which people in their 80s sometimes find difficult to carry out on their own, and they don't like to ask for help. So yeah, it was a kind of difficult visit today, but anyway, I'm back now. So I thought, just to kind of relieve a little bit of stress and tension, I'm going to do an art journal page, but there's no reason for it. It's what I call a pointless art journal page. So let me turn over to my overhead camera and I'll talk you through what I'm going to do. Okay, so this is a Strathmore mixed media art journal with mixed media art journal page or paper inside. I've stuck two pages together just to give it that little bit of extra thickness, because I think the pages on their own in these journals are just a little bit too thin when you're adding a lots of wet medium like spritzers and paints and that kind of thing. They're better for watercolours and pencils and dry mediums, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so I've added some kitchen towel just in between the pages because I am going to be spritzing colour down in the background. Like I said, I've got no real aim for this art journal page. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing or what I'm going to be achieving. All I know is I'm going to be adding stuff on here and probably maybe a little bit of doodling and maybe some colouring on top. Not really sure just yet. But I'm going to use my spritzers that I made using my brush or pigment powders, and all I did was just add some pigment powder into the bottle, then add water and then give it a good shake up to create some spritzers. So these are the colours that I've made up or got made up, and I seem to gravitate towards the sandstone colour, which is a nice kind of vintagey brown, the sea green, which is a really nice kind of, it's a darker green without being too limey, if you know what I mean. The lime green, which has got a bit of yellow in it, still some bits at the bottom, so I'll just shake them up just to dissolve a bit. And the turquoise. So those seem to be my favourite colours that I seem to gravitate towards when I'm doing these kind of pages, only because teal colours are kind of like my favourite colour. I don't tend to use the purple very often, which is why it's still full, or the red, because if I'm using a lot of green and I add red to it, then green and red just makes brown, which isn't very fun. There's a lemon yellow, which is kind of an acid yellow, but the other one that I like is the yellow ochre colour, which is a more greeny yellow, and they're kind of like my preferred colours. The other ones, like the oranges and the blues, that kind of thing, the brilliant reds, I only use sparingly. So what I'm going to do today is I think I'm going to start with lighter first and then go on to darker. So I've tried to keep the book that I'm using as flat as possible so that it doesn't completely run into the middle. So I'm getting a jet that's going to spray everywhere. Okay, so I'm not going to use a lot of that one. So on top of that, I'm going to use the yellow ochre. That's more like it. And then the lime green. So I'm going darker from light. And I'm just randomly going around the page. There's no plan with this at all. And then the sea green, so I'm getting a line in the middle, which is fine. And then we'll go in with the turquoise just to finish off around the edges. Just to kind of frame it out. And I'm going to kind of just let that run and sit for a little while. And then I'll get some more kitchen roll, or kitchen towel if you like. And then I'm going to put that in the middle just to soak up that excess. Okay, that should do, just very lightly, just gentle dabs. And that's going to pick up that excess. And then, see at the edge, just allow the capillary action for the tissue just to lift the colour out. Just let it pull and soak it in. Okay, so let me dry this off. Okay, so that's the first layer, pretty much dry now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that brown and I'm just going to add a few just little drips. That's all I'm going to do, and then I'm going to dry that off. Okay, so those are the brown splatters that are now dry. I'm just going to take the rest of this cloth where I've just oversprayed. I'm just going to give that a quick wipe, but I'm doing it dry, not wet, because if I add more water to it, it's just going to go everywhere. Okay, so I've now got a background that I might want to work on now. Blue colour. It's not as much turquoise as I would like, so I'm going to add a little bit more, maybe just a tad in the middle. And then I'm going to come back in again with that lemon yellow. I forgot that it's not spraying, it's squirting out, so we'll come back in maybe with that ochre then. And just lift it a little bit. So it may take a couple of sprays before I'm happy, but I'm staying with that colour, the greens, the yellows and the blues, not adding in any warm colours until probably very towards the end, apart from that brown of course. Okay, I think I'm happy with that, so I'm going to remove those bits of tissue out of the way. Now, I want to create some highlights on the page, but I don't want to add white paint because that's going to react with the water-based pigments that are already down there. So the only way to do that is to do the ghosting effect, that is to remove the colour that's already down there. So to do that, we can either splatter splatter water down onto the art journal page and then let that sit for a second and then remove it, or use a baby wipe through a stencil if you want more of a regimented pattern. Now let me just go grab some stencils. I've got a big pile over here. Okay, so these are all stencils that I've got that I haven't put away yet. So that was the cubed, that's the random rocks, so that's kind of nice. That's the tunnel, and then bamboozle. Let's use bamboozle and random rocks. We'll do it that way. So I'm just going to grab a baby wipe, a wet wipe. So let's do it this way. To hold it down, then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub through. Just gently. And what that will do is the water will go through the stencil and it will lift some of that colour. But what you'll need is a clean piece of kitchen towel, he says, trying to manoeuvre this with only one hand. And then when you're ready, just pat the clean piece and you'll see that it's created a lighter pattern. And then go straight down and lift. Now you can spritz water if you want to, but I find that that's too heavy, or if your wet wipe isn't wet enough, add some more water to it and then go in. And it's a subtle effect. And then lift straight away and then blot. And you see you get that real nice kind of subtle effect. I'll do that again over here where it's darker. Again, I'm just going to add a bit more water to my baby wipe for the only real reason than just to speed up the process a little bit. I'm not rubbing too hard, because if I rub too hard it's going to take the top layer of the paper off, and I don't want to do that. And then quickly lift and blot. And you get a real nice kind of subtle effect. Just dry off the stencil. Again, we'll go down here at the bottom. I mean, if you want to, you can just spritz water over the top of the stencil and just let it sit. But I find it's not quite as controlled as how I like it. Let me just get a little bit more water on there. And you can see the colour starting to lift. Blot, and then lift and blot. There we go. A lot more controlled. But if you like it a bit wild, go ahead. And I'm going to do the same thing with somebody at the door, but Ian's in, so he'll get that. So just run in circles. And if you want to, just grab a clean wet wipe and again get ready to blot, lift and blot. So you get that kind of subtle effect in the background. And I think we'll do another larger one over here, and again if you want to wet your baby wipe a bit more. Let's go right into the middle, just go around where it's darkest, I think. A bit further on this one, so blot. And then quickly lift and blot again. So a real nice kind of subtle effect, and then just clear off any bits of liquid. And I'm going to go just a little bit down here towards the bottom. I think I'll use another clean one. And then let's just add just a little bit more water. Just make the baby wipe a little wetter.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Sorry about the row, it was just the Hermes lady.
Oh, lovely. So we had a delivery, have we?
Yes, it's brown packaging paper.
Ah. What we've been waiting for.
Indeed.
So this is the paper that we use for our stencil inserts and that kind of thing. We'd run out. Bless him. Apologising for Bentley barking. Okay, so blot. Lift and blot. Again, you get that real kind of subtle lift. Alright. Just want to stencil it, everything's falling off my desk. There we go. Right. So kind of happy with that. So I need to get that dried off because there is a little bit of moisture left on the page. There we go. So we've got a really nice kind of mottly effect. Now, of course, if you want to, you can now go in with some distress ink. So we've got Vintage Photo, and then using the same stencil again, we can now start adding in a little bit of darker detail. So start off, and then I can just add in just a little bit of darkness. Just for a little variety, because we don't always want bright colours. Now I've just kind of reverse mirrored what I did earlier. So I've done a lighter one at the bottom and I've done a darker one at the top. There's a lighter one there and a lighter one there, and I've just kind of shifted that around but still kept that kind of visual triangle to help your eye move around the page. I like that. That looks alright. So, and again, this time mirroring again, but this time with a different colour. So let's go with, let's see if we can find a darker green. I think what we've got here. Rustic Wilderness. Alright. I don't know whether I've ever used this one. So this will be interesting. This is one of the new Timmy colour. Oh god, that's very, very juicy, that one. So we'll do a little bit in the middle. Okay, so that is extremely juicy. So we don't want too much of that. So we'll mirror it a bit, just a tiny bit. I'm going very, very light. And then I think a bit up here. And this kind of dark, a very juicy pad. There we go. So we've got lighter, darker, lighter, darker, lighter, darker. So just add a little bit over here. And I'm not doing it in threes, but that's okay. You add where you think it's needed. I think it just needed a bit of balance over there. Alright, so now doodling time. Have I got a foodball pen? Yes, okay. So what I want to do is try and create maybe just a random kind of doodly pattern in the middle of the page. So let's start off with a circle. When I say a circle, I mean a spiral. And then we'll wind that in. And then we can start to create some outer shapes. Let's bring that around. And then another one. over here to almost kind of build up a kind of florally pattern. So what I'll do is I will now create some lines. And at this side, just vary the direction, I think, a little bit. And then do the same thing over here, so we'll go this way. And then do the same thing over there. Okay, so in the centre, I think we'll employ doodle dots. And then we can just do random singles just to fill in. So we've got that. So we can do something similar again down here. Maybe just a little bit smaller. And then create different kind of shapes. And again, and turn it round. Start from the middle. And then maybe do 4 more. But this time, go in the opposite direction. So it's one of those kind of Zen activities that you can kind of just lose yourself in without thinking too much about what you're doing. Like that. And then you can create your own kind of stems, either thick or thin. And then create little fronds coming off. And then you can add your own kind of decoration. And then if you want to, you can add more doodling, possibly if you've got a pen which is detailed enough, you can go in there and do some Zentangles, whichever kind of pattern you like to do. So maybe just stripes, and then just fill in. Like so. Okay, so I'm going to do a larger one on this side. So we'll go kind of bigger. So this will be the main focal doodle. And then we'll come out like so, and then let's wobble it a little bit, and then from there, and then we'll go from there, and again I can do whatever kind of lines. There's no real plan or set way to do this. You can do them straight, you can do them wavy, you can do stripes, you can leave them like I've done there. This is one of those kind of activities you can just turn your brain off and just go with the flow, just enjoy the kind of process of literally doing nothing. Just create a bit of space over there so I can push the book back. And then we can create our stem. And again, be a little bigger one. And this time I think I'll do the same, go across. Okay, let's add some dots into the middle. So I'm actually creating a little bit of a pattern without even realising it, but that's fine. What you could do is maybe just add in a few extra details. Okay, so border. let's create a wavy border. Do a double line. I mean, it's something, like I said, you don't really have to put too much thought into creating. Just let it go. Just do what just comes into your head. I resisted the urge then to start singing Let It Go. You'll be thankful for that. Okay, so you can then start going all the way around. Okay, so if you've got the time, you can sit and colour in some of these blocks, or you can just do sketchy colouring in like I'm doing. Okay, so that's my border done. So again, if we want to add some colour, some more colour, we could then, if you wanted, just bring in some, let's see, we've got some red. Right, I'm going to just drop, actually let's just try and squeeze a bit out on there. There we go. And I've got somewhere a water brush, and if you wanted to add just a little bit of colour, just let it do whatever it wants. Just let it do its own thing. If it wicks, it wicks. If it don't, it don't. It becomes its own kind of creation then. Okay, let's get rid of that red. Might be a bit too intense. Let me see if I can just clear the water in there, because it looks like it's possibly brought a little bit of contaminated water in from somewhere. Probably I didn't clean it the last time I used it. So, although I don't use purple very often, purple is not my colour. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, you see it's a bit too dark, but that's okay. Create a bit of contrast. With the green, I think it's a bit too much, but just do different ones. Not necessarily every other one. Yeah, purple and green, not a good combo. The purple's one of those colours that neither falls, well, it's neither a warm colour or a cool colour because it's made up of both. Because it's made up of blue and red, it doesn't really fall into any kind of real category. Let me get rid of it. That's probably why I don't like it, because it's neither warm nor cold. Perhaps I'm more of a creature of absolutes. Where's that turquoise? Sea green turquoise, there we go. Let's try that instead. See, that's just going on top of the green, it's going more green because you're adding green into turquoise, which is already a greeny colour anyway. So if I got the yellow, let's see what would happen with that. Again, probably would go just as green. Yeah, not a huge contrast, is there? Let's turn that red into a bit of an orange. So going over the red with the yellow just kind of brightens up that red a bit. Here we go. Much better. Yes, much more of an orange fan than I am a red fan. Okay. I did say before I started this that I had no idea where I'm going with it, so okay, right, let's do some more doodling. Let's do some hanging bits. nice little hanging bits at the top. And of course you could do similar kind of things down at the bottom. So let's do some kind of weirdy kind of mushrooms. We'll do a tall one over here as well. Okay, so let's bring back out that red. Oop. He says dragging his book through it. Luckily it's a black cover. There we go. Of course, you could get your pencils out, you could do anything you liked really. And then let's just do a little bit of pretend grass. Just to kind of finish off that bottom. So, as I was saying, no purpose to this art journal page at all. So, I'm going to write down here busy doing nothing. And I think just to finish, I think I will just grab some white gesso. He says, or do I? Have I got a white Posca paint pen? I did have somewhere. Yes, I have got a white Posca paint pen. Oh, it's an acrylic marker anyway. So let's give it a shake. And I think what I will do is I will just, now some of this probably will disappear because it will reactivate with the colour, but I don't really care. So I'm going to go around just adding in some random white doodle dots this time. And they probably will disappear into the background as the colour from the background reactivate. But we'll see just how much of it actually does. I suppose it really depends on how wet it stays. But doodle dot away. It's very therapeutic, just adding doodle dots wherever you fancy. Whether they stay or not doesn't really matter. And then you can add some dots to your bits. So you've got balance from the bottom to the top. And there you go. And let's add some in. In fact, let's see if we can colour those. Let's see whether the colour stays. You'll be able to tell from the photographs at the end of the video whether it's stayed or whether it hasn't. But like I said, I don't mind if it doesn't. It's all part and parcel of the process, isn't it? So there we go. Now I've got another fine white pen here. Let's see whether or not we can... No, that's definitely not going to stay put, I don't think. No, that's going to disappear off into the background. Going to be a bit pointless, that one, but never mind. Here we go. So that's it. I'm going to call this a day. So that's my pointless art journal for Saturday. What date is it today? 25th of September. So where are we going to write the date? Over here. So 25/9/21 and signed and dated. There you go. So that's just pretty much to let off some steam. As we do need to do sometimes. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me do the process, even if you didn't enjoy the actual page itself. But thanks for sticking with me till the end if you're still here. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. But don't forget, give the video a thumbs up if you want to. And don't forget, you can subscribe by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.